looking up at Lucky, who was now looking up at him with dependable eyes. His gut turned at the thought that this dog had been harmed and abandoned to starve in the cold. Technically, we can alert the police, but considering the situation, I doubt anyone will claim him. Dr. Ellis paused. Without hesitation, Keanu stretched out and gave Lucky a head rub before saying, "I'll take him." The veterinarian grinned and said, "You sure, Keanu, he's mine now." At first, Lucky was hesitant, still unsure if this new life was real or just another temporary stop before abandonment, but Ku was patient and fed him, bathed him, and gave him a warm place to sleep. Days turned into weeks, and Lucky changed. His ribs no longer showed, his fur returned to its shine, and his once fearful eyes now gleamed with trust. From the moment Lucky stepped into Keanu's car, Keanu realized he had not only saved the dog, but the dog had saved him as well. From that point on, life was never the same for either of them. Lucky followed Keanu everywhere, from restaurants to movie shoots to charity functions. Because he was more than just a pet, he was family everywhere. Keanu got lucky and trotted next to him. The puppy, who was abandoned at a service stop, was soon adored by crew members and tail-wagging fans. "Is that your new bodyguard?" At an interview, a reporter made a joke. Keanu smiled and ruffled Lucky's ears, saying, "He's the real star here." The sun was dipping low. Golden hues were being spread across the ocean waves over the horizon. Keanu strolled barefoot on the shore. As he pursued the rising waves, Lucky ran freely, his tail wagging in the warm, soft sand beneath his boots. Playfully, he spun around and barked before sprinting back to Keanu's side. Keanu was crouching and massaging Lucky's ears. For a gas station, not terrible as the waves crashed and the sky turned pink and orange, Lucky licked his face as though he agreed that, for the first time in his life, he was home and no longer lost, waiting for someone to find him. Keanu and Lucky kept walking side by side, two souls who had been forever bound by fate. The rain drizzled steadily, painting the night in shimmering streaks against the dim glow of the gas station lights. Puddles formed in the cracks of the pavement, reflecting the red and white neon sign that flashed above the station's tiny convenience store. A biting wind howled through the nearly empty lot, but no one paid much attention to the small, shivering figure curled up near the entrance. A stray dog, thin, drenched, and trembling, sitting hunched against the cold, its matted fur clinging to its frail body. Occasionally, a customer would rush past, shielding themselves from the rain, barely giving the dog a glance. Some ignored it, while others muttered about filthy in an attempt to scare it away. Strays, and one man even shook a foot at it. The dog flinched but did not flee, because it had nowhere to go. Keanu Reeves stretched his legs after hours of driving, looking around before heading toward the store, when he noticed the dog. He paused something about the way it sat silently resigned, not even bothering to beg, and struck him reaching into his car. A black Chevrolet Tahoe rolled up to pump number 3, its headlights cutting through the gloom. The driver's door opened and out stepped a man, his long dark hair damp from the drizzle, a simple hoodie pulled over his head. After taking a protein bar out of his bag and unwrapping it, Keanu knelt down and held the food out to the dog while saying in a soft, low voice, "Hey, buddy, are you hungry?" The dog slowly raised its head, its dull brown eyes meeting his, and for a brief moment, it hesitated as if unsure whether to trust a stranger. Then, with cautious movements, it approached and sniffed the food, and in a matter of seconds, it was gorging it up. Keanu saw a faded red collar around the dog's neck, and as he reached out, the dog tensed but did not pull away. He turned the collar gently in his fingers. No owner, no name, no tag with a furrowed face. He got up and entered the store, shivering from the rain while wearing a sweatshirt. A shabby-looking cashier was using his phone to browse. Keanu cleared his throat and said, "Hey, that dog outside, does it belong to anyone?" The cashier hardly looked up but said, "No, it's been here for days. Some guy left it behind. I think, poor thing." When he saw the dog sitting where he had left it, still shivering, Keanu glanced back through the glass door. Something inside of him changed, and he realized what he had to do. Keanu then stepped back outside, where the chilly precipitation was still pouring in thin sheets. The dog kept a close eye on him. Beneath the damp fur, its ribs were barely discernible. It had been abandoned, left
behind like an afterthought in a world that didn't have time for kindness. He knelt down slowly, being careful not to startle the poor creature. "Hey buddy," he murmured, extending a hand. "You've been through a lot, huh?" The dog's stiffened muscles tensed as if expecting harm, but Keen was patient and stayed motionless, letting the dog decide for a moment. Later, the shivering animal took a hesitant step forward, then another, until finally its moist nose touched his palm. A tiny smile tugged at Keanu's lips, and that was it. "Good boy." He ran his fingers gently through the dog's matted fur. It was cold and rough, tangled with dirt, but underneath it all was a heart that was still beating and wishing. He exhaled, settling his thoughts, and said softly, "I can't leave you here, stand up." He then went to his car, opened the passenger door, patted the seat, and turned to face the dog. "What do you say, buddy, want to come with me?" he asked. The dog paused, looking about as though it thought someone would pull it away, but there was nobody there, just the rain and an empty road. With a hesitant, slow step forward, it got into the car. The puppy curled up next to him, its tiny body quivering at first, then gradually settling in the warmth. "You need a name." Keanu grinned. "That's more like it." He slipped into the driver's seat and turned on the heating as he pulled back onto the road. Keanu said, looking at the now slumbering dog, "How about Lucky?" Lucky sighed softly in its sleep as if approving, and Keanu nodded, "Yeah, Lucky." The following morning, Keanu pulled into a small veterinary clinic on the outskirts of town, where Lucky had eaten a proper meal for the first time in days, but Keanu wanted to make sure he was okay. Inside, a kind-eyed woman named Dr. Ellis examined Lucky carefully, saying, "He's underweight, but nothing a good diet won't fix," as she ran a scanner over his body. Then she frowned. "What is it?" Keanu asked, and Dr. Ellis pointed to the small screen. "He possesses a microchip." Keanu's chest constricted, indicating that he belonged to someone, and the veterinarian's face clouded as she looked over the records, not precisely, before turning the screen to face him and displaying a reported issue. Keanu tightened his jaw and looked down at Lucky, whose previous registered owner had been reported for animal mistreatment and had abandoned him after years of abuse.